Yeah, we have a few more people coming in, but we're going to get started. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. I know it's hard to take time out of your schedule. I appreciate everyone coming and showing support for the basketball, cheering, hockey program. Like I said, there's a few people coming in, but we're going to go on. First person we are going to introduce tonight is Mrs. LaPointe, the varsity cheering coach. The modified cheer coach could not be here tonight, so Mrs. LaPointe will speak on both teams' behalf. Mrs. LaPointe?
Yep, right here. Modified cheerleaders and the varsity cheerleaders for a great season. Some of them couldn't come tonight, and Missy's gone on a holiday, so I just going to present them with their whatever. All right. Jamie LaPointe, modified. Rachel Gordon, modified. And Nikki Garrett. I do have a few thank yous. Mr. Norcross for helping the cheerleaders. Mr. Devins for getting our trophies for our competitions. Sandy Martin and my mom for selling hot dogs during our home games. Ms. Rohrbeck for helping us with our uniforms. The teachers and the parents and friends and students that came to our competition and supported us. And last but not least, Tim, for getting us to and from our games safe. Thank you.
Okay. To Mrs. LaPointe, even though the squad isn't all here, we would all like to say thank you. You have been our coach and our friend since we all started cheerleading. We have put you through a lot, but we all have always come together at the end. You have taken care of us through years, and we will never forget you. Thank you so much for being there for us. Even though our hearts were broken at competition, you still tried to encourage us. We couldn't have done it without you. We love you as our coach. I love you too.
We are also going to do awards presentation for varsity hockey tonight. The varsity coach for Beavertown, Mr. Bayshard, could not be here tonight. So for hockey players, I think we have, I saw Eric Rigby. Is Eric Rigby around? Eric Rigby left. So we have no hockey players here and no coach. So that's very short. Next, we would like to have Ms. Bayshard come up here with the modified girls basketball team.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to several people. First of all, the players for a very enjoyable season. I had a great time, and I know I believe they do too. For all the parents for their support, you bring your daughters to the practices and being there for them. To the administration for their support, to Mr. Norcross for his assistance, and to Mrs. Goodrow for helping us out with the bugs that transportation, little things. We talked basketball all the way down to the games, and we had a good time doing it, and always looking toward the future. And for Mrs. Soon to help out with the scorekeeping as well. And for the boys basketball coaches for their support, because many times during the season, We have practice schedules, but sometimes we have to rearrange them, but everyone's so accommodating. Also to the Athletic Association for their continuous support and the munchies today. So first of all, I want to say a little bit about the season called Players Up. We had an excellent season. Our record was 11 wins and 1 loss to capture the first place in the MDAC Modified Girls League. So that was a tremendous. We scored a total of 614 points, with our highest game being 62 points. And that, at a modified level, that's a lot of points to score. You'll understand that you understand basketball, because that means we only play 7-minute games, 7-minute quarters. So that's a lot of moving, a lot of running, and that's what our team did. We were very quick, fast, moved the ball quickly, and layups, things like that, and that helped to keep the score. And that was our highest score. We had several scores in the 50s as well. Our philosophy this year was to, first of all, learn or improve on a skill, and I believe we did that. To all get along as a team, to be a team together, and lastly, to have fun. And I think we accomplished all of that. Our most exciting game was at Scroon Lake. Happened to be next to our last game, and we were down by 12 points at one point in the game, and came back with about 3 minutes left, 3 to 3.5 minutes left, and won the game. And putting a press on, and everyone being a part of it. Everyone, no matter if you were on the court or on the sideline or the varsity cheering us on, everyone was a part of that game, and it was just a great feeling. Many of these girls have had for 3 years, so it's really nice to become like a freshman or even an 8th grader or a 7th grader to be there and capture the championship this year, and that was nice to do. You can see the progress that they made. I think our best asset was our ball handling. Many coaches come to me and says, "The girls really handle the ball very well, and I wish we could, do the same." But we spent a half hour before each practice ball handling. I mean, constantly ball handling, and I think that's what did it. Right hand, left hand. I would always say, "Use your left hand," repetitively, and I think that was a big part of it. Just constantly doing it. Also, our shooting came along this year too. We had some key outside shooters that made a difference. For instance, Kristen Filion, Monica, Mary, those are key outside shooters, and they made a difference in the game as well. That kind of snaps of all the season, how it went. I would like, first of all, to have a modified B. We technically didn't have a modified B team, as the league knows it, but I put together a modified B team. We ended up with 4 girls in modified B, but what we would do is take the A, some of the A members, and they would play a crossover. Someone would play, they'd volunteer on a given night to play with the B members. So we'd have at least 5 people or a 6th person, a person on the bench in case someone got into foul trouble or arrest. The modified B players ended up with 5 games, but when you think about it, it's not a lot of games, but they played almost every minute of every game. So they ended up with a lot of minutes of basketball. And I must say, they gave their heart. I mean, they would want to rest. And then would say, "Can I take a break now?" And we'd give them a break. But they had a great season. We ended up with a 3 wins and 2 losses with the modified B. And I'd like the modified B players to come up. They happen to be all our 7th graders. And would you come up, just stand right here. Thank you. I give them a lot of credit and they have a lot of potential, and I hope they continue with basketball. It doesn't seem like, there's one thing about basketball, individually, you can be so much a part and help the team out. So continue with your skills, and you'll see in the future when you're juniors and seniors that will make a difference. And I really enjoyed them. They never complained. They gave me 110%, and they were always there, each practice, and did an excellent job. First of all, this individual was a good little aggressor, get on the ball quickly, and did a nice job. Whitney, Nevada. This individual had pretty good and outstanding ball handling, right and left-handed. We kind of like work our way through it, and she'd end up getting a shot on the basket and scoring. And she did a nice job. She was the second highest scorer. She scored 26 points. Where's the house? This individual is very consistent. She's very smart about the game, knew where to be all the time, and which just gave me 100% each game. Rebecca B. This individual was our highest scorer for the B team. She scored 34 points. Got a lot of rebounds. Kristen Henry. Next, I'd like to, she's not here tonight, but I'd like to recognize our scorekeeper, Tia Spray. I don't think Tia came. She said she wasn't feeling well. So she did a very good job. She came to every game and was there for us and calculated the scores, and it was just nice to have a person available to do that and give her time to do that. So I'd like to recognize Tia Spray. Next, I'd like our modified A team to come up, okay, and they can stand here as well.
I know.
First of all, I'd like to recognize Abby Anderson. Abby gave me 110%. I think a key asset for Abby was her defense, and she would, after receiving the ball or interception, she'd always try to work out a way where she'd get it down the court and get it to somebody. So Abby Anderson. Next individual, if I could keep her healthy, I'd be in good shape. But she was always, when she was healthy, would always be there for us and help us out and working on her shots constantly and Spalding. Next individual really wanted to get better. I think her effort this year was to try to improve herself and just play hard. And I feel she's improved. I think she worked this summer and she really wanted to continue with basketball and work her skills. She would be a fine player. Jackie LePage. This individual, I called her a special name, and as soon as I say the name, they'll know who it is. I call her my power forward. And she would take the ball, and no matter where she was in the court, go to the basket. She'd take out 2 or 3 people, but she'd go to the basket. Timothy Thompson. Next individual was one of our top 3 scorers. Scored 107 points this season, had an excellent shot, very quick individual, was effective in our fast break. Mary Galan, captain. Next individual is just a natural basketball player. I mean, many of the things that she does is something that didn't come from me. It's something she worked on. She's one of, I call gym rats. There's quite a few of them here that I can't get them out of the gym. They just always want to go to the gym and shoot baskets, and scored 145 points this year, our highest scorer. Monica. These were all our 8th graders, by the way. And so what will happen next year will depend on their skills this summer, and hopefully they'll either work on their own, go to camp, just try to improve to make a difference for next year. This individual had what I call the hook shot. You don't see the hook shot anymore, but I don't know how she did it. She would score on the hook shot. And first year player, I give her a lot of credit, being a freshman, coming out. I think she had a fun time, and I think she improved. on her skills, and enjoyed having her, Danielle Nephew. This individual was very consistent for me. I could rely on her getting, about eight rebounds to 10 rebounds a game, and was quick in getting them and trying to get the ball out. I truly enjoyed her. It was a third year with me. Harmony Simpson. This individual as well tried to really improve her skills. Her asset was her defense. She really jumped and defend the ball or block the ball, and was quick at, if I needed someone defensively, I would put her in and try to, have the ball stop before, get a shot off. I really enjoyed her on the team. Danette Dubry. This individual worked very hard. If I needed somebody at a certain position, I would rely on her. There's some people that just like to play or can only play a certain position and you don't want to move them because they do so well there. But this individual, I knew I could put her anyway and she'd do a good job. And it's nice to have, a person like that. I've enjoyed her tremendously. She's another one of my gym rats as well. And always trying to improve herself. She loves the game. She loves the game of basketball. And I hope she continues on because I want to, see her name in the paper doing really well. Lauren Locke. This individual's one of our top 3 scorers, scored 114 points this year. Really relied on her ball handling skills and her passing and working the team and just getting the team together. When I had a situation come up, rely on Kristen to try to solve it for me. And she would come through, okay? Really do a good job. She was captain of the team. Really will be a leader in the future. And I hope she continues with basketball. She loves the game as well. Another gym rat, Kristen Filion. Again, last thing, thank you for a great season, enjoyable season, and I hope you continue on with basketball.
Okay, I would now like to call up the modified boys that I coach this year. I'll do things a little differently. I always like to call them up, and they have to stand up here so people can look at them the whole time. Pat Billy, Pat left. Okay. Garrett Furrier. Chris Beeson, also known as Shaq. Jacob Cummings. Mark Nevada. Nick Sprague. Joel Lauren. Brian Crew. John Bradley. Tommy Russell. Ian Lauren. And we had another player on our team for half the season. Next year he will be on for the whole season, I'm sure. Kyle Baker, come on up. Okay, I would first like to talk about our modified B team. This year we ended up 8-4, which is a very successful season. Combine that with last year's record of 10-2. For 2 years we are 18-6 at the modified B level, which is a pretty good accomplishment. These guys have worked hard, they've done everything I've asked of them, and they will definitely have a good future if they stick with it and work hard over the summer. Modified A. Who remembers our record from last year? Not this season, last year. 0-13. We were 0-13 last year in the Modified A level. And it was a long, long season. This year, our Modified A club was 5-7. That might not seem like a great record, but after going a season, not winning once, 5 wins is a lot. Our Modified A team won some big games this year. The proudest I have ever been of any team I've coached was when we went into Westport, Chazy's school they really love to be best friends with. We went into Westport and beat them in their gym by about 16 points. I've never been more proud of a group of kids as I was that day. Then the next game we come out and play awful. So I never knew what to do. If they would have ever decided to wake up before a game, we would have been even better. Because if these guys can tell you, in practice, I'd say, guys, we got to come out tomorrow night and you got to be ready to play basketball. Yep, coach, I'm ready. I'm ready. We'd go out, we'd be down 16-2 after the first quarter. And we'd come back and lose by 8 points. So I don't know what it is with these guys, but definitely have to improve on that next year. Let me see here. As far as, I'd like to talk about our 9th graders just for a minute, guys who are probably going to be moving on. The first one I'd like to speak about is Tommy Russell. I don't think I've ever had a kid work as hard as Tommy does. If he does lack in skill, he makes up in hard work. If I could get every kid I've ever coached to work as hard as Tommy, we'd be all set. The other one we have is Ian Lauren. For people who did see us play this year, in a Modified A game, we play 7-minute quarters. So obviously 4 quarters doesn't take long when we play 28-minute games. Ian Lauren averaged almost 20 points a game this year in 28 minutes, which is a phenomenal stat. If I could get him to play just as hard defensively as he does offensively, we have a pretty good player. And I hope Ian sticks with it. He's just a great athlete. People could not keep up with Ian how quick he was. Ian had a great year, and hopefully he will be coached by either Mr. Barcombe or myself next year. And I hope you stay with it. And the other one we have is Andy. I wish Andy was here because I made fun of him last year for throwing up during practice. I don't have any stories. These guys were so good for me, I didn't have to run them too much. Mark threw up? Actually, I have a story about Mark Nevada, but I can't tell it. If you're curious about the story, you can ask one of the players after when I'm not around. The one story I have about Andy Chevalier, it's easy to pick on somebody who's not here. Andy is down in Baltimore at a national swimming competition. So all year, Andy Chevalier was one of our captains. He was one of our best players, worked hard. He had some games where he'd go out and score 16 points. Next game he had 10 points. He was pretty consistent. And all year, all I heard is, wait till I get to Lake Placid. Lake Placid is a place I'm great. I'm going to have a great game in Lake Placid. I think he scored 2 points in Lake Placid. So I don't trust anything Andy said. Almost done with your time here. Just to let you know, last weekend there was a 3-on-3 tournament at Saranac. It was posted all over the school. I wish we would have had more people go. But I took a team of Jacob Cummings, Joel Warren, John Bradley, all 8th graders, and Andy Chevalier, 9th grader. Now we went up to Saranac and there was 12 teams in the 13 to 14-year-old boys division. Or 14 teams, 12 or 14 teams. Every team was from a CVAC school, big school, except for us. We made it to the championship game. We won our first 4 games in our bracket. We lost in overtime to Saranac. And then we played against NAC, who had 2 freshmen who played on the varsity team this year. And a kid hit a basket against us with maybe 2 seconds left to beat us. So these guys are accomplishing great things. And all I can tell you guys is if you stay with it, you guys will be champions one day. If you want to work hard on that. I'll stay with it with you. Coach Barcombe will stay with it. If you want to work hard, this group will be successful. I really look forward to next year, and I hope to see each and every one of your faces. Make sure, guys, This goes for everyone. Make sure you keep your grades up so you can continue to play. Okay? The thanks I have, I would like to thank Ray and Kathy Devins and the Athletic Association for putting on, helping out with the chips and the soda, and anything I've ever needed, the Athletic Association has been great enough to give to me. I'd like to thank Coach Barco for helping me out. Coach, helping me out when sometimes the coach can't see what's going on, it takes other eyes to figure out what's going on out there. Travis, Leonard, and Joey Lobdell are not here, but they did every single home game this year. They worked every single game. We would not have been able to do it without those guys. And I would like to thank also Coach McCall, who chaperoned almost every home game we had this year. Thank you guys for a successful season. Thank you to the parents. Oh, what I said. Oh, Joy Winter Travis. Now we would like to present Coach Goodrow with varsity girls basketball.
I want my team to come up as well. You guys just want to I feel like I'm echoing a lot of what the coaches already said, but I want to start out by thanking people tonight that made our season such a successful one. First of all, I want to thank Maystar for all her support, and often she would sit with me on the bench during the varsity games, and she went down to sectionals with us this year, and I appreciate all her help. And Mr. Norcross and Mr. Barcombe, because we all worked out the gym time and so on. Kathy Thum's not here tonight, but she kept the book for us all year. When she couldn't be there, Monica filled in a couple of times, so I appreciate her help too. Travis and Joey for doing all the games. Hometown Cable for taping our games and showing us off on TV. Mr. Lemire kept the stats for us this year, which he's done for a long time. We'll really miss him next year. The Athletic Association, they sponsored our tip-off tournament and support us every year. And all of the parents who travel with us and get us where we need to be. I want to kind of review our season real quick. This year, I expected us to be the MVAC champs, and I think the girls did too. They listened to me say that since 7th grade, since I coached them from 7th grade to seniors. And when they got to 9th grade, we moved up, or they moved up and I moved up with them. And we came in second again this year, which is the same as last year. So when I was writing my speech, I felt like I was writing some of the same things. And I think that we faced a lot of obstacles. The first one was Westport getting Dorothy Albright from Peru. Because I really think without her that this team here would have been the MVAC champs. But that and a lot of the injuries we faced all year really set us back. At one point I was taping 4 ankles already at practice and during the games, and to be honest, I can't tape very well. I should be very good at it now and still have a problem with it. We started out the year this year by winning our own tip-off tournament. So we beat Mariah and then we beat NAC. So that was a great way to start the season. During the Christmas break, we went to the Elizabethtown tournament and we came in second. Sable Valley beat us down there, but we did a good job there too. We ended the season this year 9-3, so we were in second place by ourselves. And all year, this was the first year when you got to sectionals, you got to have home court advantage. So I kept saying, we need to keep our record up, so we can play at home. And we want to stay out of the bracket that Westport's in so we can get to the finals. Well, it seems everything I say, nothing seems to go that way. So when sectionals came out and the seeding was done, we were the 4th seed again this year, so we were in the same exact spot we were in last year. And we ended up playing Bolton again, and we advanced in the sectionals against them and had to play Westport in the semifinals. So we did a good job against Westport down there, but still came up just a little bit short. I think that although we didn't meet the goals that we had started out with in the season, that we had a lot of fun along the way. Ashley and Susie have some really funny stories, some that I can't share either. If you want to go ask them about coats, because they really had fun with coats this year. wherever we went. I'm going to give out the certificates now and talk about each player. The first one I had is Candace Keys, and Candace moved up from Modified, and she's not here tonight, so I'll just leave it at that. The next person I want to talk about is Bethany Frederick, and Bethany's an 8th grader, and she went to camp, one of the camps that I worked at last summer, and she worked really hard over the summer, and I kept saying, well, move up, so she granted me that wish that I asked her to do. But Bethany is very athletic, and she had a great season this year. In all of the games she played in, which were all but one, I believe, she scored in every game but one, so she did a good job. And even in the first part of the season, she scored 12 points in that tournament, and as an 8th grader, she would do anything that I asked her to do, and she did a great job for us. I loved it because most girls get out on the court, and they're not going to get out there and shoot threes. Well, that doesn't seem to bother Bethany at all. She just gets right out there and puts it all in there. So I was really pleased and glad that she moved up this year, and I know that she has a bright future in Chazy for basketball. The next two I have to put together, Susie and Ashley. They really made us laugh a lot this year and had a lot of fun. I'll start with Susie. She came off the bench for me and was playing at the 2 spot as a shooting guard. And I really saw her, when Jen got injured this year, I needed somebody to step up and play her spot. And I even put her down sometimes underneath the basket, and she's real thin, and it's kind of hard to play under there against some of the girls in our league. So she did anything I asked her to do, and I really appreciate that. She did a great job when she had to fill in for Jen. Ashley had some great games this season underneath the basket. She's really got some nice moves, some good post moves, and she did a great job rebounding. The one game that I remember was her best game of the season was down in the pit at Willsboro. She just couldn't miss. Every time she'd get the ball, she'd shoot. And she said, she came out one time during one of the timeouts, and Rachel said, how many points do you have? And she's like, I don't know. But she had, 23 that night. But she did a really good job. And she's going to do a good job for us in the next 2 years. We only have one junior on our team, and that's Michelle Dupree, so I'll talk about her next. Michelle did an excellent job for me defensive-wise this year. She and Rachel usually were asked to guard the other team's player who scored the most, and she did a really good job of that. Michelle's biggest fault is herself, because she won't shoot. She'll say, I can't, and she just won't shoot. So hopefully over the summer she'll work on that, and next year we're going to need somebody to shoot, so we'll look for her next year in her leadership. That brings us to the seniors, and I'll start with Lori Beggs tonight. Lori's been on my team with me since 7th grade, and she's works very hard, and I was listening to Mr. Norcross talk about her cousin, and it's the same thing with Lori. What she lacks in her skills, she makes up with whatever she's doing on the court and in practice. I could always count on her to be there. Last summer when we went to Seton, I picked her up, and she went to every game that we could go to down there. She brought the music to practice for us, and we went to the exceptional senior game in Crown Point last week or the week before, and I didn't realize such a singer she is, actually. All the way down and all the way back. And the dance moves. We're really going to have to the next player I want to talk about is Sarah Menard. And Sarah also has been with me since 7th grade, and I've never seen a kid get hurt as often as Sarah has. She was all the way through her career, from 8th grade, 9th grade, but she always stuck it out, and I'd say, are you all right? Yep. She'd be back on her feet and hobbling around, and she came back from 2 or 3 injuries this year and stuck with it, and she's really a tough kid, and I give her a lot of credit for that, because she could have just sat out, but she didn't. She had on a knee brace, she had on an ankle brace, she was safe, and she was ready to play. So I appreciate her dedication, and she did a nice job for us underneath. talk about is Tony. And Amy has improved a lot over the last 3 years. I've coached her the last 3 years, and she did a great job for us rebounding this year. And I remember her best game. We had the chance to go down to Keene this year, and we had a new gym, the new Beaver Dome. And the girls always like to go there, so Amy had her best game there that night. She just couldn't miss. And the girls on the other team were much smaller than she was, so they kept trying to guard her from here. But she had a great game that night too. And again, Amy's always been very dedicated to basketball, and we'll miss her next year too. Oh, I forgot to mention, Amy got honorable mention for the NBAC All-Stars. The next player I want to talk about is Rachel Lamb. Rachel came back this year after having knee surgery last year, so she missed last year. She was our captain for the team. Rachel's biggest asset was her defense. Everywhere we went, people said she was the best defensive player in the league, and I have to agree with them. She had to guard all of the other team's best players, and she did a great job for us. The other thing that I will remember the most with Rachel playing is her encouragement and the way she treats the rest of the team. She is a true captain, and she's always encouraging and telling them positive things at practice or on the bus or wherever we are. So we'll miss her. The last two I kind of wanted to group together. They were both captains this year, and I'll talk about them both, and then I'll talk about them a little bit separately. Jen and Melissa were the two guards that I've had all through since 7th grade as well. And last year when we played Ausable, their coach said that, oh, you have the two best guards in the league, and I'll take them on my team. And I really felt that way this year, and both had a real strong start to the season. Unfortunately, when we went to Chateauguay, Jen really didn't want to go there. I was in the locker room and I said, I can't believe you don't want to be here. Well, I guess she was right, because when we were there, she was injured. She broke her arm and sprained her ankle, but she fought through that and came back and helped us out and came back for sectionals. Jen was averaging 14 points a game, and I think she was real close to that at the end of the season too. Not only does she score a lot, but what I was most impressed with her play is she's the smallest player on our team and on most of the varsity teams, and she would get the ball and not be afraid to drive to the basket. She would get that ball and go right in there. It didn't matter who was standing near the basket. So she had some really nice moves. The other thing that I was really impressed with her was her ability to steal the ball and how quick she is out on the floor. Some people were watching her one game and said, I've never seen a player that can go end for end and make the layup. Well, Jen was very good at doing that. Jen was voted second team All-Star in the NBA. Oh, I did you wrong. You got me nervous. The last player I want to talk about is Melissa tonight. And I had a hard time putting things down when I was writing about hers because Melissa's the point guard of the team, and she's really an extension of me. If I ask her to call a play or tell her what to do, we often have a lot of conversations right next to the bench, and she would laugh a lot at things I said, and I really enjoyed having her on the team. She's had an outstanding career at Chazy for basketball. Last year she was MVP of the league. She is again this year. She averaged 15 points this year a game, but as a point guard, she did a lot of other things out there. She had to make the assists and the passes to other people. She was the team leader out there. If there were 3 seconds left on the clock and I wanted somebody to shoot the ball, I'd say, put the ball in Mel's hands. Same if we wanted to waste the clock because time was running out and we had a small lead and we wanted to just finish up the game. I was always comfortable when she had the ball in her hands and she could dribble around or do what she needed to do with it. As a coach, it's been real easy to coach her as far as having her bring up the ball and facing pressure. When we played Westport all those years, she was the one that had to face someone on her all the way up the floor and always did a super job with it. The other thing that I remember about her play is how unselfish she is. If she had the open shot, sometimes I'd have to yell at her to take it because she wouldn't always do that. She'd always make that extra pass. When we went to the sectional senior game, the coach from Lake Placid said, how can you coach her? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, she would drive me crazy because he kept saying, she's too nice, she's too nice. He wanted her to shoot the ball. So not only did I notice that, but the rest of the coaches did too. What was it? Our team this year is losing 6 seniors out of the 11 players, and the Villans are also moving. So I think that the rest of us have a lot of work to do to get back to the level that we've been at for the past couple of years. Next year will definitely be a rebuilding year for us. The Modified did a nice job, so a lot of them will have high expectations for them. As I look at them, the seniors especially, all of them are going to college. And as I was sitting there writing this last night, I was thinking, you know, most of them probably won't be playing basketball when they go to college next year. But I know they're going to do well wherever they are. Rachel's going to St. Lawrence. Melissa's almost sure she's going to Brockport. Jen's going to New Paltz. Amy, St. Francis. Lori, and Sarah has joined the reserves and is going to Clinton. So they're all going to do well no matter what they're doing. I know I'm going to miss them because they made my season and our season a great one. I guess to the Modified players and the ones that are left over, that we really need to get out there and play this summer and make sure that you continue on. Thank you.
We'd like to thank Coach Goodrow for our great season. For many of us, this is our last year with her. Coach Goodrow started out with us in 7th grade, and we have grown attached to her. We have always had a lot of fun with her, and she has always seen us through our wins, loses, and even our injuries. Thank you for all that you have done for us. We wish you the best of luck with the rest of your coaching years.
Now we'd like to have Coach Barcombe come up for the boys varsity basketball team.
Boys varsity kind of had 2 seasons this year. The first 10 games and the last 10 games. And the last 10 were a lot better than the first 10. We got off to a rough start. We were 2-8 over the first half of the season. We had some injuries early on. We got a late start and an extremely tough schedule to start the season. So I think as I think back on it, the turning point probably in the season was the Saranac Christmas tournament. We went up and played against Saranac, who was 7-0 or 8-0 at the time, and they were blowing away the competition in the CBAC. And at halftime, we trailed 36-32 before they finally wore us down the second half. And eventually their height and numbers took over, and we ended up losing in the end, but we played very well. The next night we went back and played Sable in the consolation game and won by 4, and played 4 very good quarters, I thought. And 4 or 5 days later, we found ourselves in Chateauguay against an extremely good Chateauguay boys team. We made it to the Final 4, as did their girls. And even though Matt sprained his ankle in the first quarter, we still hung in, and we only lost by 14 up in the Chateauguay gym, which I thought that was a good accomplishment. So even though we only won 1 of those 3 games against, it was very good competition, and you could see that we had kind of turned the corner and we were playing better basketball. The second half of the season, we went 6-4 over the last 10 games, including an extremely tough loss here to Lake Placid. We were up 7 with 3 or 4 minutes to go. We had 4 of our 5 starters end up fouling out of the game, and we ended up losing 70-65. So we could have very easily been 7-3 over the last 10 games. We ended up 6-4, and we felt pretty good about ourselves going into the sectionals. We were a 10 seed going in. We went to Long Lake to play there. They were the 7 seed. We won the first round 80-55, and actually led 52-18 at one point in that basketball game. So we played probably our best game of the year. 48 hours later, in the quarterfinals against Westport down in Ticonderoga, we could not buy a basket. I'll credit Westport for playing good defense, but we had some very good looks inside early, some great looks at three-pointers, Mike and Matt both, and we just couldn't put a ball in the basket that night. So that happens sometime, but I think as a coach overall, I was pleased with the fact that I think we definitely played our best basketball at sectional time. I think that's what every coach strives for. As we look to next year, we definitely have a big hole to fill. We lose 3 seniors, but those 3 seniors have started every game for the last 2 years, every single game, and Matt started every game for the last 4 years. So we do have 6 players returning. That's the good news. We have 1 junior and 5 sophomores coming back, and the sophomores have had a lot of playing time already because out of necessity. So we're not exactly empty here, but the other thing is the modified players that I saw this year. There are some people on the modified A team that are capable of stepping in and playing next year and doing well. But realistically, if you look at this, if you get done playing modified on February 10th or 15th or whenever that was, and you don't play again until the end of soccer season, November 15th or 18th, and think that you're going to go in and actually compete against varsity players on December 2nd or 3rd, that's not realistic whatsoever. So I'm echoing what I've heard from the other coaches. There's plenty of time for soccer, there's plenty of time for baseball, but you need to put some time into this too if you want to move up and be successful next year, because it's a big step. It's a different speed, different game. But we're going to have a lot of time put into it. Mr. Norcross and myself, there'll be some open gym time, and I'm really hopeful that we can get Seton League. Again, we've done it every year I've done it, but the numbers are a question, and we'll address that after the baseball season is done. But if we get together and work on that, I think we can be fairly competitive next year. We'll talk about the players now. Could I have the sophomores come up here first, please? We had 5 sophomores on the team this year. Like I said, a lot of times in the MVAC, sophomores move up because they have to, not because they necessarily want to be there. But in this case, I talked to them early in the season and said, look, you're going to have to play and make a contribution, obviously, with the numbers we have, and they did. They worked extremely hard. They get along great together. I think that's an important fact. Jason Castine worked very hard, always one of the first ones at practice every day, improved his outside shooting greatly. He worked hard, and he's really coming along. Chris Angelo Santo is one of our better defenders. And one of our better ball handlers. And one thing we talked about last year was taking care of the ball at the beginning of the year, because in varsity, like most of the time we talk about, you get 1 shot only, and you have to work awful hard to get the ball, so you don't want to turn it over. And he did a good job at improving at that, so he's coming along nicely too. Corey Baker steadily improved. He puts a lot of time into it. He really does like basketball, and that's an important fact. He did a good job on the boards for us this year. I think back to the Elizabethtown game away especially. Corey made a major contribution when we won down there away. He didn't score a lot of points that game, but he got rebounds and a couple of key steals at the end. So he's coming along nicely, and we'll need a lot of rebounds out of him next year, that's for sure. Damian Nevada was by far our best defender on the team again this year. He's a nuisance. He's no fun to play against. He had held Travis Sheehan to 5 points from Willsboro, was one of the leading scorers in the league, and also held Dan Broderick to 11 points here from Westport. So he did an outstanding job for us too, and as well as handled the ball a lot. The other sophomore is Mike Barco. Mike's at AAU practice tonight. Mike led us in scoring and foul shooting, and also did a nice job for us on the board. So it's a solid sophomore class, and they'll have to step up big next year, and I think they'll do that. I know they'll all work hard this summer. Chris? Corey? Damien? one junior on the team this year, and he joined us partway through, but he exhibited some outstanding potential. He can jump very quickly, he's very quick on his feet, he's fast, and he has good hands. Those are all good attributes to have as far as basketball goes. Kevin Ryan, if he works this summer, could definitely be a main factor in our success next year. So I hope that he gets in the seed league with us and improves, because it's vital to us that Kevin plays next year. Could the 3 seniors come up now, please? I'll start with Drew and Tim, and I'll actually talk about them together because they were our inside presence, our combination down low, and they have been for the past 2 years. Over the last 12 games, I looked at the scorebook a little bit in the last couple of days when I was getting this together. They averaged just a hair under 25 points a game over the last 12 games. And there's no secret why we won 5 out of 6 and 7 out of the last 12. Obviously, that's the reason. Because we were getting outside scoring all along, but you have to have some inside presence, and they did a great job with that late in the year. They continued to improve. Drew ran the court very well for a big man and got out in the fast break and got a lot of stuff going in the transition game. Tim was our top rebounder and also got to the foul line 72 times this year, so he learned how to draw some fouls. Physically, they gave up height every night. Usually they guarded somebody 3 or 4 or 5 inches taller, but physically, strength, we didn't get pushed around by anybody. They did a good job down low for us. The other thing I'd like to mention about Drew and Tim, and also this is about Melissa too, was they worked with the 5th and 6th grade basketball program this year. And I think that's outstanding. I think it's great to pass the knowledge down to the younger ones. And also, all of a sudden at the basketball games, you start seeing the 5th and 6th graders in groups coming to watch the varsity basketball game and saying, "Hi Drew, hi Tim." And that's really what it's all about. Obviously, if they're there in 5th and 6th, they want to play varsity someday. So that was outstanding, and I hope that continues. Hope that continues in the future. Our other senior is Matt Devins. Matt had another great year. He became a member of the 1,000 point club in our first game of the year against Crown Point. He finished his career with just under 1,400 points here at Chazy. And in the last game of the year against Screw Lake here, he broke the area record for most 3-pointers made in a career. So, yeah. Winners. And he will receive a scholarship worth $750 this fall towards his college. So that's a very nice and well-deserved honor. So as I said before, we only lose 3 seniors, but we lose quality, obviously. And the other thing I'd like to mention about these 3 is I never ever had to worry about coming to school and finding out that one was ineligible to play. I never had to come to school and have a teacher meet me in the hallway and say, so-and-so gave the study hall teacher a hard time today or was disrupted in a lunchroom. I've never had any of those problems. They were a class act off the court as well as on, and they'll be deeply missed. Drew Arthur. Captain Tim Barton. And Captain Matt Devins. I'd like to pass along a few thank yous. First of all, the Athletic Association, which is echoing everybody else, for our Christmas tournament, obviously, and also for the 5th and 6th grade tournament, which we just had a couple of weeks ago. We skipped a year last year, and I think we all missed it. It worked out well this year. Before the end of the tournament, there were 6 teams there this year, double elimination. I had every team come up to me before the end of the day or the tournament was done and say how much fun they had. There was no arguing, no bickering, no injuries, and we made a few dollars. So that was very successful. I hope I'll try and continue that as long as we can do that. That's good for everybody. I'd like to thank Sandy LaPointe and the cheerleaders. Sandy, we've had a lot of fun over the last 7 or 8 years. We got to Memorial Hall a couple of times. We didn't make it back this year, but we gave it a shot. So we'll miss you for sure. And thank you for everything. Tim LaPointe for doing a great job and being a lot of fun, making the trips a lot of fun on the bus. The hometown cable, Sam and Calvin, we really appreciate it, and it's fun for everybody to watch, and it's also very good for the coaches to use. And I urge anybody here that's a parent that can give something to Sam and Calvin to do so, and even some of the players, if you're working, if you can send a few bucks their way. I think it's well worth their time, and we would definitely miss it if we didn't have it. Thank Mr. Blair and Ms. Silver for coming to the games and always having a positive word to say. I think that was very nice to see them at the games. Thank Dan Bernard. Last year I had Jason Fenner, who helped me out. This year Dan came along and said, "Coach, would you mind if I come to some practice?" I said, "No, by all means come." And he did a great job. He worked around his work schedule, his college schedule, and he worked with the big guys underneath, and I really appreciate his help, and Dan's a fine young man, that's for sure. I'd like to thank Mr. Bayshard and Mrs. Goodrow for being very cooperative. As they said before, if somebody has a problem, it's not a problem. You adjust to it, and whoever has the gym has it. It's never, ever a problem. A big thank you to Mr. Norcross for all his help. We have a lot of fun coaching it together. We think very much alike when it comes to basketball, and I look forward to working with him again next year. One last thank you goes to the varsity girls players. I can't say enough about the support that they gave the team this year and last year, but they really do get along well. We traveled to 3 away games. They had a good time together, and I really thank them for the support and congratulate them on the great season they had. Thank you.
If we can get your attention again, we also have some trophy and flag presentations to some of our athletes. Mr. Devins will come up and present the awards.
First off, we have an outstanding cheerleader award, which is picked by the coach, and I believe I've seen her come in. Nicolette Dubray. Okay. There's a mic's not here. We have first team all-star. It says MVAC First Team All-Star, Northern Division, 1999-2000, Mike Barco. Okay, girls basketball. Presented to Melissa Lemire, League's Most Valuable Player, Mountain Valley Athletic Conference, Northern Division. Girls basketball. Coach of the Year, which I found out at the senior game. Mountain Valley Athletic Conference Co-Coach of the Year, Girls High School Basketball, Tuesday Goodrow. And we have a couple of flags for Matt here. Matt Evans, Section 7 Boys Basketball, High School Basketball, 183 career three-point baskets. February 2nd. Then Section 7 Boys High School Basketball, Matt Evans, 1,377 career points. We also have a couple soccer flags, which we found out after the soccer banquet. We might as well start with Matt, since he's right here. Matt Devins selected to All-State Small School Second Team Boys High School Soccer, 1999. Selected by the Sports Writers and Coaches Association. Girls presented to Rachel Lamb, selected to All-State Small School, Second Team Girls High School Soccer, 1999.
I would like to thank all the coaches for coming, doing a very nice job with the presentations. I would like to thank all of the players and parents for coming. I'd like to thank Hometown Cable, again the Athletic Association, and I would also like to thank Mrs. LaPointe. This is, been informed, know for a while, this is her last year of coaching cheerleading, and it's kind of sad. I've only been here 2 years, but she puts in a tremendous amount of time. When I get done basketball practice at night, if I have to come up here, I walk up the hall and they are always here. The cheerleaders are always here. Mrs. LaPointe is here every night. She works harder than any of us, and I just hope everyone realizes that. Thank you, Mrs. LaPointe. We are all set. Thank you all for coming. Please, guys, girls, if you want, there's soda up here.